In terms of the U2 records and the work you did with them, obviously, probably their most iconic work. What sort of room are we talking about with U2? Because those records, they all have such a big, vast sound. It seems almost impossible to create.
We recorded in a lot of different locations with U2. When I first went to work with them, we worked in a castle in a place called Slane. So Slane Castle, a historically significant place because the Battle of the Boyne was fought just yards from where we were making the record on the River Boyne.
Wow.
This was a definitive battle that meant that Ireland lost to England. And the lads wanted to be away from the formal studio, and they wanted to be in a place like that. So it was a very beautiful setting. And, needless to say, you're in a castle, so that's going to have a vibe of its own.
No
but
question.
Most of the record was done in the library of the castle. The library was very dense with books, and in the end, it had the best rock and roll sound.
And was this for Joshua Tree?
No, this would have been for Unforgettable Fire.
Gotcha.
The Joshua Tree was done in a country house, on a farmhouse outside of Dublin. And again, a very, very great sounding place. The main room that we had the band in had a wide plank wooden floor, and the drums sounded thunderous in there. It was hard to go wrong, and there was a fabulous setup, and we were very concentrated, and everybody wanted to do very innovative work. So that's probably the most important thing, more so than the location. But it was nice to be off the beaten path, to be in the country, and there was even a donkey living in the house.
Really? That's a nice little touch.
The donkey would come in to check out some mixes.
So do you prefer being in an environment like that that's not controlled? Is it somehow more fun or not?
Well, we had a good time in those unusual locations. But lately I've been thinking I might want to get back to the formal studio. I've worked in studios in New York City where, there's other records being made down the hall, and it's kind of a nice feeling of camaraderie, when you can stick your head in the other studio and see how other folks are doing their thing.
No question. It's sort of a musical vibe all around you at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of an example, when Prince was with us, Prince would be down the hall making a record with somebody, and there's just a kind of a tone in the air of, you want to be respectful, you don't want to barge into people's sessions, but there's always this underlying feeling that there's a group feeling, and there's camaraderie in the air in a formal studio.
Absolutely. Bono and the Edge. Anything you can tell me just about the personal aspect? I know people are sort of wonder.
Well, Bono and Edge are great cohorts of mine. We get fast results in the studio. I co-produce those records with Eno, so Eno, myself, and the guys, we always come up with something pretty quick. But we had a very simple process in the studio. Each person gets their own little station. So I have my guitar, my percussion, and my processing gear. Eno would have his. So we have these little, and you might say we're kind of specialists in our own little parts of the room.
For sure.
And the job at hand is to come up with something special as a specialist.
Right.
And so the guys really like surprises, and and I are quite capable of coming up with them. So that's a big part of our rapport. The sonic landscapes that we could quickly build as a group. But we share, in regards to philosophical exchange. We had nice long conversations about life, and there was, especially early on, there was a lot going on in Ireland politically, and so a lot of that made its way into the music.
Yeah.
And when that kind of stuff is happening, it can't just be pop, because you can't run from where you come from.
No.
So there was quite a bit of weight on those early records, and Bono and Edge wanted to write about what was happening to them, to their culture, and what was happening around the world in terms of injustices. Mm-hmm. So that those vibes got into the 80s music we made.
Have you ever talked about doing another project with U2?
We talk all the time about what everybody's doing. I just spoke with The Edge recently, and we had a nice conversation about where things were going musically. So I suppose that's always in the shadows, that we never forget about the good times that we had, and we're all creative people. So as long as the creativity stays alive, then I think we could. But we've not set a date or anything like that. So I work by invitation. I'm not going to hustle.
To be determined, then. Fair enough. I like that.